Mmm, tasty. Hey guys, DRJ here, and today I'm bringing you my Deus Ex Human Revolution review. So, the first area of this game I want to talk about is the overall combat, which I feel like is a combat, the way you work yourself from point A to point B through the game. So you have two options, right? You basically either go combat or non-combat. I think they call it stealth versus run and gun, but in my opinion, well, we'll just stick to the combat first. So the combat components. Wow, there's a lot to cover here. In general, any close quarter combat in the game is essentially not an option. The enemies are extremely lethal, extremely powerful up close. If you want to die, a really good way to do that is to go running up close and try to stand and bang with somebody, because it's not going to work. Obviously, it is possible to sneak up on somebody and do the double takedown occasionally, or stealth up and do whatever. All that stuff is totally possible, but by and large, even if you're trying to finish off that last guy, if you're running up to him and trying to take a few pot shots at him, if you miss, or if you hit him in the shoulder or whatever, or his headshots, he doesn't actually take the damage you think he's going to, which happens regularly, chances are you're going to die and you get to eat it and do it all over again. Something you end up figuring out sooner or later is that their accuracy, medium to long range, is exceptionally poor, and a wonderful strategy is simply standing out in the open and taking their heads off with any type of pistol from medium to long range. Just ADS and take them out all day, and there's little to nothing they can do to you. Obviously, this isn't quite the case later on in the game with high-powered weapons, but that's a very small percentage of the game. By and large, you can stand out in the open, and they just won't be hitting you. Inventory management is also a huge part of the combat / run and gun portion of the game. Looting is, intertwined with this as well. When you kill somebody, they drop a specific subset of ammo for that gun that they're carrying. So this means two things. Number one, you're going to be doing a lot of searching bodies if you're killing people. You're going to be searching both the body itself, and you're going to be picking up their gun that they dropped as well. It also means that with the statement that devs released regarding ammo, which said that they specifically decreased ammo in order to increase fun, you are going to be managing ammo a whole lot throughout the game. It also means you're going to have to be picking up a whole lot of different guns, because they drop, like I said, that specific ammo for specific guns. So at any given time, you don't know what ammo you're going to be getting, and so you just have to carry around all the different weapons, because whatever ammo you get is the only ammo you get, and you have to use that gun regardless if that's the gun that you'd rather go with. So I think that this, in my opinion, is a terrible way to implement this mechanic of sort of managing your resources. I think a much easier way to do it would have been to implement a common weapon or a common ammo type, and much easier to balance the ammo scarcity in the game that way. Regardless of the ammo you pick up, it's going to work for the gun that you have. Or they could have just decreased the amount of guns. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but the way that they ended up trying to balance it was by providing ammo dumps both before and after boss fights. So it felt like it was more of this all or nothing approach, and in general I just don't think they succeeded at balancing that gameplay element. The last area of the run and gun that I want to talk about is simply the experience. So I think you get 10 experience for killing somebody, and you get 50 for knocking somebody out. Also, for going to a level without tripping off alarms, without killing people, things like that, you also get other huge bonuses as well. Just feels like, technically run and gun is an option, but is it a viable option? No. As far as, do you want to complete the game efficiently in as short amount of time as possible, with as few saves as possible, as a powerful character as possible, depending on your answer to all those, you're probably better off going stealth. Now I sort of want to talk about stealth. The stealth game, or the stealth option in this game, in my opinion, really isn't much of a stealth option at all. Thief back in the day, to me, that was more of a stealth-based game. You're doing things like hiding in the shadows, timing your runs to go around, taking out lights and things like that. And while it is possible to time runs, too often you just have literally a shaft right next to you, or some sort of tunnel you can go that just bypasses anything and everything. You just go past them. Also, once you drop a few points in invisibility, you just turn on invisibility and just run right down the middle, and it doesn't matter. They can't see you. You just go right by, and it's as simple as that. It's pretty ridiculous, and like I said, it's not really a stealth component. It's more of like a bypassing or skip the game altogether component. doesn't really take in any stealthy considerations, in my opinion. To me, it almost feels like it was thrown in as a bit of an afterthought. I mean, if they didn't have the invisibility augment, you could just be taking those crates, or I'm sorry, well, not the crates, the shafts, or like I said, the tunnels or whatever, and you know, you wouldn't even need the invisibility augments. It just you just go past everything. I don't know. It kind of boggles my mind. I don't know why it's even there. It's very, very frustrating to see it. I think it's very poorly implemented. You know, and all of this is sort of, to a greater or lesser extent, exacerbated by the hacking and, like I said, sort of searching for ammo too. So when you're going back to the combat portion of the game, like I said, it starts to feel like a chore when you're managing your inventory, looting and searching all these guys, and then you're constantly having to loot and search for all the different ammo. And part of that process is, you know, if you want as much ammo as possible, you're going to have to hack as well. Hacking, I don't think that component is necessarily terrible, but the fact that it was so heavily utilized and there are so many different options to hack at any given time. You know, you have computers, doors, terminals, safes, just so much different stuff to hack, and you get so much good stuff from it too. You know, sporadically, but there's large incentive to do it, and it's not fair to say, like, you know, oh, it's technically it's optional, you know, forget about it, because there's a large incentive to actually hack in this game. I think if the devs would have decreased the amount of actual hacking areas in the game, you know, those puzzles should be, in my opinion, few and far between. But instead, you know, you have to devote a large amount of points in order to augment that out to successfully hack. And then you spend a huge chunk of time in-game hacking to get all sorts of resources. But once again, a lot of that can simply be bypassed also through stealth. If you don't need ammo and guns other than to kill bosses, which in my opinion are extremely easy, you can probably just skip all of it. The last area that I want to talk about was basically the controls. I bought this game on PC. The mouse has some issues, as do all console ports. It moves very sluggishly. It feels like you're sort of dragging it through there. It doesn't feel like it's gliding effortlessly. Some of these can be mitigated to a greater or lesser extent by messing with options like VSync. It actually makes a pretty sizable difference. And in general, I don't think that should be something you have to do, but it's also sort of expected when you're going from a console port to a PC game. You know, overall, you know, the feel of this game, I was really looking forward to it. It has a more realistic approach to, say, the storyline and the combat, the mechanics in general. Like I said, you know, there's no shields, there's no barriers and things like that in Mass Effect. There's no Vanguard charging. It's taking cover, it's trying to shoot people in the face. You know, you have scarce resources, so it has a more realistic approach to it. But at the same time, you know, you are supposed to be having a more powerful character. You know, you do have these augments, and you're not a normal human being. And I know that I didn't ever necessarily feel like that. I felt like I had a slight edge over people, but it was so easy to die at close quarters that, like I said, it was very, very frustrating playing the game that I did, the way I did, which was basically combat-oriented. But I would have felt much less satisfied if I would have gone the stealth route of the game and essentially just bypassed everything. I think my actual biggest complaint about the game, though, is the overall feel to it, the storyline and the mechanics of how the game comes together as a whole. And that is, with everything taken together, with the looting, the searching, the hacking, the dialogue, the cutscenes, you know, in general, I just felt like it was a story that was taking part, you know, without me there. It was a story that was unfolding before me, and it wasn't a story that was unfolding with me in it. You know, part of what makes video games so much fun is the fact that you get to be that main character in the story. You get to make things happen. You're the one that shapes that world. When you go watch a movie, you see what somebody else is doing. You're like, wow, that was really cool. That was pretty awesome to watch. But in a video game, you shouldn't feel like you're standing back and watching. And I felt like that's what I was doing when I played Deus Ex 2. You know, the first Deus Ex was a pretty revolutionary game for its time. You know, it was this sort of introduction into the now sort of hybrid action FPS RPG games that we're starting to see. And to me, it seemed like Eidos really failed to capitalize on a lot of the both mistakes and lessons and experience that other games have done since then. And instead, they just sort of did their own thing, and don't know. I mean, once again, it just feels like they made this game and they created it, and I mean, I just have to wonder if they played their own game. It's not to say that you can't have fun in it, but it seems like there are so many glaring problems with it that I don't know. I just have to wonder why they did things the way they did. Like, why didn't they have common ammo, or why you take so much damage up close? You know, why instead of stealth did you just have this sort of avoidance? Why do they have so many more benefits and experience gains associated with going stealth versus combat? Like, why put that there at all? Overall, if I had to give this game a value on a score of 1 to 10, I don't really like to do that, but I'd probably have to give it somewhere between a 6 to 7. In general, I'd have to say that this game is a renter. You can't rent it for PC. You definitely can't on console. But that being said, on console, I've heard that people are having load times close to 1.5 minutes or longer. And that, coupled with everything else that I've already talked about, seems like to me I'd probably just turn the game off and I wouldn't keep playing it, because it would really pull me out. Most of my load times were pretty minimal, especially because I have a newer computer, definitely faster, so that helps out. But excessive load times in excess of like 1 to 2 minutes to me is just simply that's inexcusable. It shouldn't be in the game. That coupled with everything else plus traveling, just want to blow my brains out. Anyway, as usual, any questions, comments, feedback, criticism, critiques, whatever you guys want to say, let me know and I'll do my best to respond. It's first or second review, so still trying to get the hang of these things. Anyway, let me know and I'll look forward to talking to you guys.